Okay. Good afternoon, everybody. Welcome to today's class, and I'm so excited to still be here with you guys. I want to teach you guys about sockets.io and full stack, right? Developing a full stack app with HTML, CSS, and JavaScript, and also Express, right? So in our last class, we used sockets.io, but we had a little hitch with trying to emit an event, right, from a WebSocket or from a RESTful controller, right? From the endpoint of a RESTful controller, that's a RESTful API route controller, right? So we are going to solve that issue today. Then I'll show you how you can authenticate. You can authenticate requests that are being sent to sockets. That's if you're listening to events from the user, right? And the user is making request, right? You can listen to those events, and then before you do anything, or first, I think it's even that before you even treat those events, right? You can authenticate. That's before the user even connects. You can check if the user is authenticated. If the user is not authenticated, then you can choose not to connect that user. So let's see how we can do those things, right? So we'll talk about emitting events from route controllers, then authenticating WebSocket events, then we'll build our front end and back end. So this class is going to be somehow long, maybe longer than other classes, but we are going to do what we are supposed to do at the end of the class. Okay, so we are here, and of course, I know that you want me to increase my screen, the size of my screen, or the size of the font on my screen. So now, let me explain the reason we could not emit an event, right, from our route. Now, if you come back here, let's come back here. This middleware, where is it? Okay. So let me come back to app.js. Let's look here. Right. Now, IO is supposed to be configured, right? Somewhere here. It's not supposed to be in another folder like this www. It's not supposed to be somewhere there. It's supposed to be here. Okay, but then first, let's see. Let's just run this to be sure that it's not working. Let me clear, then npm start. Okay, so we have that started. So let me just test this again to be sure it's not working. So what we need to do is we just need to connect to. I haven't changed anything on this project in case you're wondering why I want to test it again. So let me come back here. We have our endpoint sample 3000 connect. I'm listening to a message event. I'm listening to a message event. Then I want to send a request. Okay, so I have emit an event. Let me send that request. I receive an internal server error. So let's come back to VS Code and see something. Okay, so on our VS Code, we have an internal server error here. It's saying a new connection detected. It's actually connected, but when we try to send this message, it said cannot read property of send in line 50, right? On line 50. So let's see. Line 50 is our req.io.send, and IO, right, isn't used, apart from the fact that we are trying to make this a middleware here. It isn't configured in this same file, right? So what we need to do is we need to rewrite some things. First and foremost, what we need to do is everything that has to do with IO and app will be moved to the app.js. So I'm moving the whole thing that has to do with IO. I'm moving this server, I'm moving app, I'm moving ports, I'm moving everything basically, almost everything. Plus, I'm moving HTTP and this server. So I'll cut that out of there. I'll crash this server because definitely the server will crash. Then I'll come back here and paste it. So I need to paste that. I need to paste that somewhere here. So we have our IO here. We have server, we have app. Then we also have ports, right? Then I'll need to move this up, these two up. So I'll highlight them, then I'll press ALT and then the up arrow to move them up. Okay, so what have I done? I've simply moved some code from www to our app.js. Okay, so that's this. So this IO, what's the another reason I'm moving it is this IO has to be initialized first, right? Before we then put it as a middleware. Before we then try to use it as a middleware, it has to be initialized first up here. So we've moved this, we've moved that. So what we need to do now is here on the server, right? We have server here. And remember, if we come back to www.js, we have server being used here. But where is this server reading from? We are just saying server.listen. There is no server, right? There's no, remember that the server that was declared here, we moved it to app.js. So what I need to do is I'll pick the server and the port for that server and export it. Instead of exporting app, I'll just simply come here and say server, port. Because that's what our www now will be concerned with. So if I come back here, I'll just simply say here that I'm importing from app, right? That's app.js. I'm importing server and I'm importing ports. So port is going to be used to listen to the port here. Server is going to be used here for the server. Then this normalized port is being used here in app.js. So I'll just cut this normalized port for where normalized port is being used. Normalized port, but normalized port doesn't exist here. So I can just paste it anywhere here. Maybe paste it here. So I know that normalized port is being pasted there. So this normalized port won't be undefined again, right? Then another thing I have to do is since we are declaring IO here, const IO is equals to new server, we won't have to come up here and import it again because there's no IO in www.js again. There's no IO there, so I can remove this one line of code. So if I remove that one line of code, I think everything should work well. Everything should work well. Let me see, DB. Okay, so let me start up the server again. So I'll say clear, then npm start. Okay, so what is it saying? It's saying IO is not defined. Okay, so that's in our www. So that's because remember that I exported IO here. I exported IO and I exported server. So instead of exporting anything, I'll just remove those two. They are not needed. Yeah, so now everything now works well. Server started on port 3000, connected to DB, beautiful, yada, yada, yada. Okay, so let's come back to our Postman. Let me come back here, right? Okay, before we go to Postman, right? Let's come back to, let me explain what I'm trying to do if you've forgotten, any of you have forgotten, right? I want it that when I sent a request, where is it? When I sent a request to this endpoint, so the endpoint name, the endpoint route is emit an event. So when I send a GET request to emit an event endpoint, right, it should send, apart from it's responding with event emitted, right, it should send a request or a message, right, via sockets.io to the back end. And of course, we know that when we are sending a message, right, that a response should come. Okay, when we are sending a message, right? See, okay, yeah. Once we send this message, it should be printed to the server. If I'm not mistaken, it should be printed to the server. So let's try it. Let's go to Postman and let's try to send that request. And then let's see the response it's going to give. So first and foremost, I need to be connected. Okay, it's saying, sorry, I didn't mean to emit that event first. I want to connect to Postman first before I try to go and emit that event. It's saying event emitted. Let's come back here. Beautiful. Okay, so we get a message, right? That hello, this event is fired from the emit endpoint. Now, let me explain what's happening. Let's take, for example, this is our mobile app, right? And let's say an admin wanted to inform a user that something has been updated on his end, right? Or on his record, right? Now, the endpoint that the admin can call, or the endpoint that the admin is supposed to call can actually send a request or can send a message to that user, right? Saying, hello, oh, this event is fired and this is how it should work and all those stuff like that. You can do that, right? So what I'm simply doing here is send the message or send the request. Once the request is triggered, this is going to be sent to everybody, right? So this event is sent to everybody that is being connected to WebSocket. Now, how do you send personal message to people, right? So let me show you guys something. Let me duplicate this. Let's say sample user 2. Let me still duplicate this and I'll call it sample user 3. I said user, not user. I'm supposed to say user. Sample user 2, sample user 3. And then we have sample user 1. Right? So we have all these users. Okay, so we have these three users, and I'll connect the three users, right? I'll connect the three users. User three also connected. Okay, so everybody's connected. Beautiful. Then let me send that request. Back on event is emitted. Let's go to user one. User one receives that event. Okay, user two didn't receive it. So let me listen to a message here. Sorry, let me listen to a message here. Let me listen to a message here also. So look at this. They are still connected, right? Let me come back and send a request. Event emitted. Let's go to user one. User one receives the message. User two receives the message. User three also receives the message. So, but what if I wanted to send only user one that message, and I don't want to send user two and user three that message? So this is what we can do. Let's come back here. Let's come back to this point. Now, we can add, where is it? Sorry. We can add a middleware, right, to authenticate users, right? So that middleware can extract the user details from the token and then add the user to a group or a room. Now, room is another feature of sockets, right? That makes it easy for you to maybe add a group of people to a particular domain, or let's say, yeah, let's just say to a particular group, so that if you emit an event to that group, only those users that are added to that group, right, or to that room would get that event. Okay, and another thing to do is you can add each user to a group by his user ID, right? What I like doing is I can add one user to one group, one user to one group. So once I call your user ID, you're the only person that will receive that message, right? And you can add a couple of users to a particular group, right? Or a particular room. And those users are going to also receive the event that is emitted for that particular room. Okay, so let's see how we can do that. So to do that, we'll say io dot use then io dot use it accepts a function and that function accepts socket and next. Just the same way we have request, response, and next in Express, socket has middlewares too, right? Socket has middlewares. So the way you can use a socket middleware is this socket has everything to do with the user trying to connect, right? While this next has to do with calling the next route or calling the next handler, right? After you've done whatever you want to do here. Now, you can in here say that auth token should be equals to socket.handshake dot auth. auth. So you have auth, you have address, you have issued query, secure time URL. I think we should use headers. Headers authorization. So this is going to enable you pass headers, right? Headers authorization. Or another way you can do it is you can decide to pass the token as a query string, which is not really, like, should I say, standard, because some developers will tell you, you can pass headers on the front and make it a query string, which is okay. It's fine. So, but on Postman, you can definitely see that you can pass in headers, right, on socket events. So, would say const bearer, okay, strategy is equal. So when we get the authorization, we are going to split it. We're going to split by space. Remember splitting by space, because we have the authorization will be bearer token. So we can say that the auth token, come up now. The auth token at 0 is going to be the strategy, and the JWT, that's the token itself, is going to be auth token at index of 1. Then what else can we do? You can now say const user details should be equals to, so the user details is equals to JWT dot okay. So I'll say const JSON web token should be equals to require, then JSON web token. Then here I would say JSON web token dot decode. First, the token, or is it decode or verify? Sorry. So verify is going to, yeah, exactly. So where is it? What am I trying to verify? I'm trying to verify the JWT and the secrets, which I can't remember now. Okay, API, auth secret, sorry. The auth secret is going to be process.env.auth secrets. So we can now say socket.handshake.auth.user details should be equals to user details. So what's this handshake? So when once you're trying to connect to socket, right? A handshake takes place. Like, so this is how the connection happens. You send a normal GET request to the socket on the back end. Then an upgrade from HTTP to WS, right, is going to happen. Then when that happens, the next thing that is going to occur is that you get an ID, you get some other information about yourself, right, or that particular connection, as the case may be. Then that information is being kept by the back end, and then a connect message, or the handshake will be completed at the end of the day, and then you get to know that you've been connected or connected to the what they call it, back end, and then from there you know what to do. But then at this point, when you're done decoding, right, and then you have your user details, the next thing you can do is you can say you can say next. You can call next that way. So then if there's an error, I'll just put next here, error. Or I can decide to maybe send a message that an error occurred, but I would rather do that. So what have I done? I've been able to create, oh, I'm not even checking for this strategy. So I could say if the strategy is not bearer, if the strategy dot to local lowercase is not bearer, then sockets.send, maybe I'll say error, and then I'll say your strategy is incorrect. Okay, then what next do we need to do now? What we need to do next is okay, so we are done with this. What next? What next? What next? Okay, I need to try to connect now, right? So let me try to connect without any ID. So look, I'm clicking on the connect on Postman, right? Nothing happens here. Nothing. Absolutely nothing. If you want to be sure that connection tried to connect, so I'll say console.log, a user is trying to connect, right? So let me send that request again. You see, I'm sending the request on Postman. See, a user is trying to connect, which means a connection from Postman to sockets.io is detected, but maybe the person doesn't have a header. In fact, that connection is not successful. So at the end of the day, I don't think we can even send back a response to them. Okay? I don't even think we can send a response back to them. But that connection didn't work well. So let me try to log in as a normal user and then send that request. Okay, I already have a token I can use here. I can play around with here. So let me copy that token. Let's go back to Postman. Let's go back to Postman. In the headers, I'll say authorization error paste. Then let me try to connect. Woohoo! We've been able to connect. Okay, so let's come back here. See, a user tried to connect and a new connection detected. The connection ID is that ID. So this is what I can do, right? There are different ways of you handling this thing. I can decide to use this ID to be making requests, right? I can decide that once you connect, I'll use that ID to be making requests. Now, let me disconnect and connect and show you the user's detail. So to be sure that this is working, right? Once you connect, right, I will do this I would say console.log the connected users details are as follows. Then I'll just need to use this here, socket.handshake.auth.user details. Where is it? Where is it? Okay. Then let me connect again. Okay, beautiful. So now you see, a new connection is detected. The new user details are as follows: user ID, full name, email, role, and everything, blah, 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 whatever. Now, what I want to do to make it simple for me to emit events to users is I can add, because I know that the user's ID is not going to change, right? I can use this user ID, right, to be sending requests. So, or to be sending, how do I put it? To be sending events, yes, right, or messages or events as the case may be, to send events to this particular user. So if there's any other user, right, I can, it won't, that particular user won't receive that event, right? That's one way. Some people, what they might want to do is they might want to save this user ID and the token and this connection ID. They might want to save it somewhere on the database. So anytime they call this user, anytime they want to send message to this user, right, they'll go and search for the database where maybe the list of online users where the user's ID is this ID. So when they see that there is this ID on that table, they will now pick this connection ID. They maybe emit an event. But I won't want to go that route. So the simple thing I would do here is I would add a user to the room, and the room's ID is going to be the user's ID itself. So quick one, let's actually go and see what is this room we've been talking about. What is this room we've been talking about? Let's go to our browser and see. Share, let me leave here. So what is this sockets.io? Let's get started. Let's go over here. Okay. So we go to, let's see, broadcast. Let's see. What I'm looking for is, okay, overview of the API. Sockets.requests. So let's go back to emitting an event. Let's see the different ways we can emit events. Okay. Let's go back to server API and let's see. Yeah, but the bottom line is what I'm looking for is socket.join, right? That's what I'm looking for. And I just want to show you guys where you can get it. Not join socket. I'm just looking for join. Let's come over here. Let's see. It's supposed to be a join. Okay, but anyways, I can't find it. But sockets.join is used to add a user to a particular room, right? So if you want a user to be able to get messages, right, from a particular room, you can do that. And you can add each user to an individual room. If you don't like the stress of trying to manage that user, you can just say one user, one room, one user, one room. So if you send a particular message to a user, right, since it's added to a room, the message is going to go. So let's just do what I'm saying and let's see how it goes. So I'll simply do this. Since we are back here, I'll just simply say that the user's detail, no need for me to log out this user details here, right? So I'll say const user details should be equals to that, right? Then now this socket.disconnect is usually the last thing you want to check. It's usually down, under, not always on top. So I'd say user details should be equals to that user details. Then here I can say sockets.join. Say sockets.join, and then what do I want to join? I want to join that user that is connect or is being connected. So I'll just say user details dot user ID. And of course, always convert this to a string, right? Just to be on the safe side in case this comes back as a, okay, it's always going to be a string, right? It's always going to be a string, but in case it comes back as not being a string, you should always do this. Okay, it's always going to be a string, so I don't think we need to actually do that. But let me see. Yeah, we don't need to do that. Let's leave it that way. Okay, so if the user connects, he's going to be added to his own room. Okay. So if you look here, where is it? Sockets.join, joins a room. So the room, so now the room name is actually the user's ID. So I'm just creating a room and that user is automatically a member of that room, right? So we can join room one, so this is just saying that current user is joining that single room. If there are multiple rooms I want to add the user to, I can add the user to multiple rooms. But what I'm just simply doing is the room the user is joining, right? The name of the room is the user's ID. So anytime I emit an event to that user's ID, it's just going to go to that room and emit event to that room. And remember that this user that has joined that room, right? The room ID is still the user's ID. So it's still going to meet that same user at the end of the day. Okay, so we've done that, and let's see how we can send messages to a particular person now. So I hope, is there any question? Does anybody have any question based on what I've done here? So also, since there's no question, right? Also, right? Here, when the user is disconnecting, remember to remove the user from the room. So you'd say socket.leave. So socket.leave, and then you would copy this user ID or the user's detail for you to remove that user from that room. In fact, for you to not even remove the user from the room, like to fold up, or should I say destroy that room or kill that room, right? That's what you're trying to do now. So if you say leave, so your leaves, you're removing people from that room. So you're simply removing the user that was inside that room from that room. And remember that the room is still the user's ID. So you can emit to a room, right? So let's come back here. So let's say, where is it? So I'll emit an event, right? When a user logs in. And I want only that user to receive that event. Now, we have two kinds of users. We have admin and we have user, right? Let's come back to Postman. Let's come back to Postman. I'll connect the two users and you will see how they are going to react. First, before I reshare my screen, let's come here. This admin has its own token already, right? Let me just copy his token. But this admin token is long. Yeah, I've copied the admin's own token, right? Let's go to Postman. Let's go back to Postman. So this user 3, I'll just name him user. Then this user 2 now, I'm going to name him admin. So I'll say authorization should be bearer. And then the admin's token, I'm going to name this other person admin. Then I think I should even create another user. So I think I should call this one user Victor. Then I should call this one another user. I think I should just call him another user. So let me come back to Postman. Let me come back to, where is it? Sorry, let me share back my screen. Let's come back to VS Code. Let's see what we can do. Okay, I'm coming back here, share my screen. Then I want to create another user. So auth test, this is how to register. Excuse me, sorry for that. Okay, so I'll just sign up with admin Victor. No, not admin Victor. I'll just say, I'll call this James. I'll say user James. And I'll just call this user James at gmail.com. User James at gmail.com, yes. Oh, this is not. I'm trying to create this online. Sorry, you're not supposed to do that. This is supposed to be localhost at 3000. This starts. I don't know why I like putting HTTPS. Okay, so I've created that other user and I'll try to log him in. I'll try to log this particular user in. So we have this newly logged in user. I'll copy his token. This is user James, right? Come here to Postman and I'll call this user James. James, one very stubborn person like that. So we have user James, we have admin, and we have user Victor, right? But then these people are logged in already, right? But if user Victor makes a request, right? Maybe I'll create an endpoint. Oh, you guys didn't see how I registered user James? Okay, I'm sure you guys saw it. So let me create an endpoint that any logged in user can make. In fact, this is what I would do rather. I would move this to the users endpoint. I'll move this to users. So remember that users, it will verify if you're logged in, and then it will check if you're actually a user. So I can move this in here, emit an event. So now the route is going to change. Why did it crash? It's saying app is not defined. So this app is going to change to router, because router is defined. App is not defined, router is defined. Okay. So let's make um this request. But now instead of saying io.send, right? I would rather say io dot emit. So this is it. I would say, since this is an endpoint that requires authentication, I'll say req.io.emit. Then where am I emitting to? So if you hover here, okay, it's not going to show anything. I need to emit to a particular room, right? But the room now is going to be req.userdetails dot user ID. Remember that this verify auth, if you look at this verify auth, remember this middleware now, it says that req.userdetails should be user details. And remember that user details contains the username, the full name, the user ID, and the role while you're trying to log in, if you remember. So user ID is coming from there. So I'm saying once a particular user emits this event, that particular user should also receive this response, right? So this user, I want to use Victor, right? This particular person is Victor. So let's go back to Postman. Let's go back to Postman. So we know that this is user Victor's bearer token. Let's copy it. Bagan, bagan. Let's come here. This place, right, on the headers. In fact, I just go to authorization and say bearer token. Okay, so the token is already here, but I just need to change it. I'll say edit user token, paste the user token, but it shouldn't start with bearer. It should just be the token that way. Copy this in case this doesn't change, paste it also. And then remember to save. Beautiful. So after that, we know very well that. So let me save this. I'll just save this in users endpoints. and I'll call it emit event. But I hope you guys are getting what I'm trying to do. Is there anybody that is confused about what I'm trying to do? So what I'm trying to do is,
I'm just looking
okay,
for looking sake.
okay. So this is what I'm trying to do, right? I want it that if a user is logged in and that particular user emits an event, right? That user's WebSocket is going to be the only WebSocket that should get that event. Remember that before, when we were emitting events, if we emit an event, any WebSocket that is connected is going to get that event, right? But what I'm trying to do now is, when I emit one event, when I emit an event, that particular socket that is being connected, in fact, if these three users are being connected, as far as Victor, right, is the one emitting that event, Victor should be the person to get the response or the message for that event. That's what I'm just trying to do now. So let me connect
Okay.
this person. Let me connect the admin also. Let me connect Victor. And since Victor is the one that's logged in, let Victor send the, now that route is not found. So that route is not found, and it's because I changed it. So it's supposed to be /v1 /users / yes, that way. So if I do that, it shows emitted. If we go to Victor, okay, if we go to Victor, Victor is listening to message, but he didn't get, okay, so Victor isn't listening to, so Victor didn't get the message, but others, and also others didn't get the message. So there's something I'm missing. There's something I'm missing on the endpoints. Let me check that out. There's something I'm missing. So just give me some few minutes. There's something I'm missing somewhere. So when an event is being emitted, okay, so yeah, let's come back to VS Code, right? Okay, sorry. Let's come back to VS Code. I think we shared the same screen. Let's come back to VS Code. Look here. I'm emitting an event, right? But what I'm doing is the event name is the user ID, which is not correct. What I'm supposed to do is I'm supposed to put the type of event, right? Or I could say io.to.message. Okay, so I can just say this event is a sample event, right? I just say sample event, right? And then I could say, so here is where I made the mistake. I was supposed to say request.io.to. Then the to is going to be to the person I want to emit that event to. And the person has to be listening to a sample event. So that's important. I could also do req.io.to then .send. Okay, so let's come back here. Let's come back to Postman. Let's make sure that everybody is listening to the same event. So apart from listening to the message event, you're listening to a sample event. This one is also listening to a sample event. Sample events. This one is also listening to a sample event. Everybody's listening to a sample event. But only Victor is going to get that sample event. So Victor is the person that is logged in now. So let's see. Let him emit that event. event emitted. If we come over to Victor, we see, hello, this is an event fired from the emit event endpoint. Let's go to admin. Admin doesn't receive anything. Let's go to James. James doesn't also receive anything, right? But Victor is the only person receiving that event. And that's because what we are saying is that particular user that's logged in would be the one to receive this event, right? We can also do something like this. Let's see. We can also send a message because this same user is listening to a message. So I could also say req.io.to the same person .send this message is for you. Then I could say req.userdetails dot full name. That's what it's called, full name. Let me be sure. Yeah, okay, it's full name. So let's come back here. Then I could also do the same thing here. This event is for that event is for that person. So let's come back to VS Code. Let's see what is being done. So let me connect to Victor. Let me connect to admin. Let me connect to James also. Then Victor is the one that's being logged in here. Let him send that event. He's saying he's getting an internal server error. Internal server error. What is the issue? Okay, yeah. Okay, so what I did here is wrong. What I did here is not correct. Okay, so let's see. req.io.to.send is not a function. It's not a function, so I'd rather remove it. I'd rather remove that so that everything will work well. Let's go back to Postman again. Then let me send that particular event. You see event emitted. Now, if you come, okay, so sorry, I didn't connect these users. I'm sorry about that. So let me come back here and send the same event. You see event emitted. If we come here, you see, hello, this is an event fired from an event endpoint, emit an event endpoint. This event is for user Victor. Have you seen that? No other person has the same event. Now, let me log in as James. So logging in as James would mean me copying this bearer token. Yeah, then going over to this place in the user token, right? In this user token, I'll change this user token to James user token. Then I'll save it. Then after saving it, I'll come back here and let's see, everybody's still connected. So let me make the request again here. Let me send that request. You see event emitted. Now let's go to Victor. Victor doesn't receive any events. Apart from the other one he received first. He's not receiving any other events. Admin too is not receiving any other event. But let's go to James. Now James is receiving his event. He's saying, hello, this is an event fired from emit an event endpoint. This event is for James. Can you see that? So now what I have actually done now is I have been able to implement the logic to enable the backend to send events to specific users, not sending it to whoever is connected, right? I can send events to specific users based on who the backend wants to send events to. Okay, now with what you with that implementation, you can actually send, you can have millions of users connected, right? And if the data changes for a particular user, right, you can use that logic to send an event to that particular user's front end. If that user is connected, you can say, so now if this user is disconnected, right? Okay, let me disconnect this user, James. Let me still send the event. It will show event emitted, but that event doesn't come in here. So there are ways to, now, this is another thing, right? If the user connects, right? Now, what people do is you can save this, you can emit this event, and also you can save it as you can save it on your database as maybe on read. For example, if it is a message that the user is supposed to get in real time, the user is not online. Of course, while emitting the event, you're going to save that message as on read. So when the user comes online later and fetch data from the database, right, it will still come as being on read or on seen, right? Or you can save it as delivered. Then when the user clicks on the message, so if this was a real life chatting app, when the user clicks on the message, it will emit an event to change the request or to change the state of that message from delivered to read. Then after changing that that message status, it will now emit it to all the users that can see that message, that this message has been read, right? Or to the person that sent that message, it will emit an event that this message has been read. Of course, if that person is not active, right, on the database, that it has been saved that that message is read. So so when that user like logs in, the user will see the list of messages and know that, okay, that message is read. So the message he sent was read. So this is like basics of how sockets.io works. Now, I don't expect you to get everything I've said ASAP. As I'm saying it, I like you guys get everything. If you watch the video a couple of times, you will understand the concept of whatever is happening, right? And how everything like works. Okay, so Mr. Celestine, your hand
Yes,
is
sir.
raised.
Yeah,
Okay.
I have backend. You are developing a website. So
Yes.
after developing a website, you don't know the particular user, but you want to emit it so that whenever a person log in, a user log in, the thing will send. Can it be possible? Well, like
Yes.
this
So
one,
now
we
this,
know the particular.
yeah, I totally get your question. So this is the thing. While testing, right, or while developing your endpoint, you're going to test that endpoint with sample data. So you register a couple of users, maybe you have a couple of transactions that you can use to test. So if the thing works perfectly well so now, yeah, if it works perfectly well for your test case, right? Then if the data gets larger, it is going to still work perfectly well. So like this one now, since I have 2 users and 1 admin, and I know that I can send the request to 1 user, and then that message can go to that particular user. Then even if we have 20,000 users, as far as this worked for just me having 2 users and it was able to know which particular user to send the message to by his ID. And of course, you know that no 2 users can have the same ID. So it should work perfectly well, even if you have a larger number of users. Okay.
Okay. But
Yes.
is it possible for us to use async await identified by ID? Or
Yes, you can use. So if you're going to use that, if you're going to use async await and so let's go back to VS Code. If you're looking at it may be saving a user as something happens, or yeah, you can if you want to use async await here, right? Even at this point, look, even at this point where you have this connection, if you need to use async await, you can mark this as async. It's allowed, but you need to have an await inside, right?
yeah.
But since I don't have an await inside, there's no need to mark this as an async. Okay, if I want to save, so if I have this greet statement, right, or this greet event that I'm listening to, and I want it that when a user sends a greeting message, right,
Yeah.
that I should save the greeting message to database, I could use async here, and then I come here to say await maybe this person dot create. Yeah, maybe if it's to the users table, I want to save it to, or maybe to the greetings table, I have something like greet dot create. And then maybe greeting message is going to be inside there, something like this. If there was a greet table somewhere, right, on the model,
Okay.
I'm allowed to do this, right? I'm allowed to do what I want to do. So this is the thing. This here, right? This line
Yeah.
of code here works exactly like your controller. Remember your route controller, like user route now, you now have this controller to
Okay.
work when there's an event, or when there's a request sent to emit an event. This is the controller. It's the same way you have an
I
event,
see.
and then you want this to emit, or this controller to work, right, when that event is being emitted.
Okay.
Okay, so do you have any further question?
Would love us to try one, as beginners.
Okay, so what I'm going to now, we've done this, right? You were talking
Yeah.
of creating a full stack app, and I want to create
Okay.
an app that can allow you save notes. Like you can write notes and save, maybe short notes and save, right? And I'll do it on the front end
Okay.
and the back end, because I
Okay.
think that is a very short kind of project, right? That we can just do, like start and finish on one class.
Okay.
So let's start on that particular project. All right, first and foremost, I'll need to create a folder on my desktop. I'll just create a new folder. I'll call it create. What do you want? We just say note taking app. Don't worry, you guys will see my screen very soon. So let me share my desktop with you guys. Okay, note taking app. Let me open the note taking app with VS Code first before sharing my screen.
Okay, sir.
So um, we are going there. I hope you guys can see it.
Yes, I can see.
Sorry, I mistakenly stopped sharing. Okay, so I've created an empty, I created an empty folder on my desktop. And then I'm creating an empty, then I open that empty folder with VS Code. So the name of the folder is Note Taking App. So the first thing I need to do is I can create two different folders. I can call this front end and I can call this back end or API. You can call it back end, right? So we have two folders now. We have front end folder, we have back end folder. Now here I'll just create a file. I'll call this index.html. Then I could call this other new folder dashboard.html. I could, oh, did I name it a folder? Did I make it a folder? Sorry about that. It's supposed to be a file. Dashboard.html. Then new file to add notes.html. Then of course we are going to have a style.css. We don't have style. Then we can have scripts. Okay, then on the back end. So what do you think I would do on the back end? On the back end folder, what do you guys think I should do? Tell me.
You install Express.
Okay, beautiful. Okay, you want me to start Express from scratch? That will take a lot of time.
Okay.
Why don't I
Okay.
use Express generator?
Okay. Okay.
So I could say Express. Okay, now, since Express generator is going to create the folder for me, right? There was no need for me to even do this backend folder. So I'll just leave the backend folder. I'll delete it actually. So on this, now I am on the notes taking app folder. I'm not on the backend folder. So I'll just say, clear this. I'll say Express. I'll say, I'll call it backend. Simple. So I need to change directory into the backend. So I'll say cd backend because that's it. Then I'll say npm install. Everything configured for me. Then what I need to do.
Sorry, sir. The CD backend, is it Node.js person that is installing that one?
No.
Or the front end?
No. CD. Look, so CD is used to change directory. It's just as people use Windows people use dir. Abi, what do you guys use? I can't remember what you guys use. This is like using it to enter or leave a particular directory. You understand? So, for example, I'm in the backend directory now. I'm inside this backend folder on the terminal. If I want to leave the backend, that's if I want to go a folder back from backend, right? I'll just say cd and then dot dot dot. So this takes me back to where I have backend and front end. But if I say cd backend, right? I'm entering the backend directory. If I list now, I'll see everything inside that backend directory. Do you understand it now? Do you understand?
I understand.
Okay. So let's start with the backend, right? Let's start writing our API. So first we need the login route. We need register and login route, right? So I'll just say auth here, and here I'll say the note router. So inside this auth router, right, I could say register and then login, but let's create the model folder. Let's install Mongoose. npm install Mongoose. Sorry, this is supposed to be a folder, not a file. So, model. Okay, so this model folder is going to contain a user model.js. Then it's going to contain a note model. So I'll call this notes model. Of course, this could be users model. Then here, of course, I'll say const Mongoose should be equals to require Mongoose. Oh, then I could say that the note schema should be equals to mongoose.schema, and then the note should have a title that is of type string. Is required, which means it can't be empty. It should have a body. In fact, the body is still the same. Then it should have an owner. The owner should be a type of schema.types. Mongoose dot schema dot types dot object ID. The reference is going to be to users, because this user model would be users. Then required should be true. So simply what I'm saying here is the owner is going to be saved as an object ID, not as a string. Then that user, right? We are referring to the user's model, which is the model that will be concerned with this user here. Then we can so we need a title, we need a body, we need the owner. Then I could also say timestamp should be true. So that's the schema there. Then we would say note model should be equals to mongoose.model. The model name is going to be notes. Now, mind you, this is going to be the name of the collection when it's being created. Then the schema is going to be notes schema. Then of course, so I don't want to write that from the beginning, so I'll just copy everything and paste in users model. But I'm lazy like that. So I'll say users, this is going to be user schema is going to be user what? So this, I'm not supposed to be exporting the schema, rather I'm supposed to be exporting the model. So this is supposed to be user model. User model, copy, paste. User schema, this is supposed to be user schema. The user schema should have your full name, should have your email, should have your password. That's simple, right? At least full name, email, password. Your password is going to be of type string. It's not going to have a reference, and it's going to be required. And also, your email should be unique. Unique means two people can have the same email. So even if you try to register twice, it won't allow you to register because you already have that email, right? So unique true. Then I should start using this schema, these two schemas to my advantage. So let me start. So when you try to log in, so we should npm install decrypt JSON web token. I think it's command that is used to separate them. I can't remember. Okay, no comma, sorry. Register. So when you're trying to register, what happens, please? What happens? When you're trying to register, of course, you'd have that the user is now. I like wrapping this in a try and catch. When you're registering, right? You're going to receive const. You're going to receive full name, email, password, as a request body. Then, of course, you would want to check or account already exists. Even if you don't make this check, right, it's going to actually still check. So it's a user model dot exists. Let me come back here. So let's see, mongoose dot, oh, sorry, I didn't say new mongoose schema. Sorry, my bad, my bad, my bad. It's supposed to say new mongoose schema so that if I say exists, so if that email exists, so I'd say if if the account already exists, that I want to return a response. So that's supposed to be a conflict. So I hope you guys are still seeing my screen. Okay, you guys are seeing my screen.
Yes. Yes.
Okay, so this would be a status.
But don't be annoyed. Zoom a little.
Oh, okay. Okay. Wait. Okay.
Oh. Okay.
English is quite big for him. So if,
Thank you.
okay, you're welcome. So we can say, can send a message that accounts already exists. The status is supposed to be a conflict status. No, I can't remember what's the, so if I say HTTP conflict code. So conflict code, let me see it. Okay, that's 409. So I'd say the response status of 409. 409 means there is a conflict with, yeah. So, although what I'm saying here is most times it's used with a put request, but it won't matter in heaven. Okay, but always try to find out the correct status code. Actually, what I mostly do is, if I'm not sure of a status code, I can actually go and read through the list of status code, right, on the internet, and then see which one would fit into my need at that particular time. But conflict fits into this need at this particular time because there's a conflict between you trying to register an account with an account that already exists. So it fits it. Then if the account doesn't exist, of course, if an email exists, right, this is going to return a true. Remember, I'm supposed to use, this is supposed to be a sync and this is supposed to be a wait. Wow.
Okay.
I just hope I'm not losing my powers as a developer. This one I'm forgetting. I'm forgetting about async and await. Okay. All right. So that's by the way. Okay. So the next thing I want to do is, since this user doesn't exist, I can hash the password. So I could say const hashed password equals to bcrypt. So since bcrypt is not available there, I'll say const bcrypt should be equals to require bcrypt. So first and foremost, let me check that this is installed.
Please don't be annoyed, sir. I've noticed something. Let me find out. This under user model, const user model equals forward slash dot / 2 times. Okay.
Okay.
Clean one.
Yeah, so this ... is saying, now look at this. We are in index route, right? But the model is inside another folder, right? Now, you need to take a step. You need to take a step back from routes to back end. Then taking a step back to back end, you now enter the model's route before you can then reach the user's model. Do you understand?
Okay.
So that ... is saying move a step backward, that is move from the route folder to back end so that you can enter any of these other folders. Okay, so I'd say bcrypt dot hash. So let me check if bcrypt is actually installed. Bcrypt is installed. Okay. Then let me see. Require. I didn't spell that correctly. Bcrypt dot hash. So most times when you notice that things aren't working the way it's supposed to be, maybe you imported something, but it isn't showing you the suggestions, right? No fear. First, go and check how you installed it or how you're importing it. If you imported it well, then you're good to go. But if you check that there is an error and while you're trying to import it, right, you should correct that.
Okay.
So you hash the password. So hash sync is going to accept the password you want to hash, and then the number of rounds you want that password to be hashed. So we say this is going to be the user's password, and then I could just put 10 in there for the number of times that should be hashed. Then I could then say user model dot. Now this is just one way to actually like create a password or create users, right? There are several ways to do it. So we can say await user model. Some people would rather use something more complex, right? Maybe some people, they might want to validate the details coming in here. So
Okay.
we'll do that in another class. So we could say this dot create, then the create would say full name, email, password should be the hashed password. After that, we would send a response. The response could be user created. Then the next is to do the login. So router.post login. We'll try and catch. I like doing this first so that I won't forget. Then here we would say we're expecting an email and a password. Then now there are some people that will say when you're signing up, you should sign up with full name, username, email, and password so that when you're logging in, you can log in with email or username. In fact, let us do it here. Let's come here. We'll say email, your full name, we can say username. Username too is also supposed to be unique because you shouldn't have two people having the same username. So we'll just say the username should be string, the username should be unique, the username should also be required. So adding that will make us also add another statement here. So before checking for an email, you might want to check for the username. So we would have to add username here. Okay. Then we can say does username, if username exists, so I could say username already exists. So if username already exists, we'll just say username already taken. And if the email already exists, we want to check email. If email already exists, we will then say email already exists. Then here we would say full name, email, full name, username, email, and password. Then here, if we want to log in the user with that particular, we can say email or username. Then here we can say const user should be equals to so we'll say await user model dot find one. Want to find one and want to find one where. So when you put this $sign, you then have to write where, or then you say where the person's email is. Oh, sorry. So this is supposed to be, or then you now put a square bracket because you're expecting a list of values you want to compare. So where the username or email is the email, or the
Okay.
username or email is the username. So you say where the email is the email or username, or where the username is the same email or username. So then here you say if there is no user, then you want to return res.send. Then, of course, this should be a status. A status of what? Guys, a status
400.
of what?
400.
No. 400 is saying maybe they sent a wrong credential. 404
Okay.
is going to be
404.
used because maybe that user is not found. So you say 404 here.
Okay.
Then you say message user is not found. So if the user is found, you want to prepare his token. So you want to say const token. Okay, first, no. If the user is found, you want to compare the password. So you say const does password match. Does password match should be equals to so did we install JSON web token? I think we did. So let's check here. Yeah, we installed JSON web token. So you can come here and say const JWT should be equals to require JSON web token.
Okay.
Then down here we say JWT dot sign. Want to sign, I might just put the user's email and the user's ID there. So I'll just say user ID should be user dot ID, user dot underscore ID to string. Just want to, even if you don't convert it, right? But I want to explicitly convert it. Then
Please, sorry, why did you use dot underscore at the same place?
yeah, this is coming from the database. So
Okay.
remember that the user has an underscore ID, so I'm accessing it. So the user's
Okay.
email is going to be user.email. Okay, so I was to check if okay, I know what to
Wait,
do. So
you were to
yeah, if
check
the
it out.
passwords match, so I could say const token should be equals to that. But then how to check if password match is just saying bcrypt dot compare sync, and then you'd say the data, which is the password that is coming from the request. Then you want to compare it with the encrypted password, which is coming from the database. So you say user.password.
Okay.
Yes, so you're comparing the password coming from the front end with the user's password that's coming from the database, which is the encrypted password. So you then say if passwords, so if it is false that passwords match, which means passwords do not match, so you return a response with a status of 400 because it's the user's fault, send a message, and then you can say invalid credentials.
Okay.
Then of course, if the passwords match, you would prepare a token that contains his user ID and his email. And after that, you would send the token. You'd send you'd send the email. You can send the full name. So you can say full name. First, you can say the message should be login successful. Then the full name should be full name.
Username.
The username should be user.username. The email should be user.email. And the token, in fact, just leave token because token is going to be the same token. Then that is it. Then we've done for login and for sign up. Then we need to create that middleware for checking if you're logged in. So I could create a folder called middleware. Then I would say file, I'll say check if user is logged in.js. So this will have a function. This function will automatically, in fact, this is going to be an async function. No, it doesn't have to be async. No. If it has to be async, I'll change it. REQ, RES next. Of course, token is going to be gotten from req.headers.authorization. Of course, we can say if, so first we can say strategy. Remember, so this is going to be me doing this dot split. I want to split by space. The strategy is going to be token at 1, token at 0. Then the token itself is going to be token at 1. Then we'll say if, because if the strategy dot to local lowercase is now equals to bearer. Request dot status, and the status should be 400. Maybe it's the user's fault. Then you can say dot send. Then the send will have a message here. User not found. No, not user not found.
Email.
Strategy. No, strategy not not bearer. Strategy not bearer token. Then, of course, we can add a return here. I could return that statement then. Or I could simply do this. Instead of me doing this, I could say else if there is no token, right? Then I should still send a response that no token present or found. So if it has passed all these tests, then we can then come back here and say const user details should be equals to function. So here I would say const require const JWT should be equals to require JSON web token. Then down here I would say JWT dot verify. Verify would be taking the token string, which is the token itself. Sorry, this is const. Taking the token itself, putting it there. Oh, and I didn't create a .env file, so .env, I could say auth token equals to some set of random words. No token, no space here.
Kick ignore. It's not there.
Yeah, okay, I'll do that. So req dot process.env dot that auth token to sign it, then to verify it to you say what is not there?
Okay, gig ignore. In case you want to push.
Okay.
That's all.
So .git ignore node modules .env package lock.
JSON.
Anything that ends with .rest.
Okay.
In case I have any test.rest or whatever .rest, and I could decide to push it if I want. It's optional. I can decide that I don't want to push it, so you won't see how I'm testing. The reason you might not want to push .rest is you might be using secret keys inside that .rest or authentication keys, or you might expose the ID or the JWT key of a user, right? So that's one of the reasons you might not want to push that .rest for your testing.
Thank you.
So we've done that. We still need to install npm install.env.
Okay.
Then here I would say that require .env. You can just simply write .config here. That still work perfectly well. So here we check. We have our JWT user details, you can then say that req.user details should be equals to user details, and then we put our next. Then we've done this already. You can say module.export check if logged in. So on the user's route, first thing we are going to do is we are going to say that the router.use check if logged in.
Okay.
So it will automatically import that. Then we are going to okay, what we'll do here, try catch error here. Then we are going to say when you get, right? When you get, you want to get only your books, only your notes, because you don't want to see the note of everybody in the whole world. So it say const note should be equals to okay, first this should be async. Then this should be await note model dot get dot find, but you want to find where the owner is req.user details dot user ID, because you are looking for only your own notes, not the notes of everybody in the whole world. So it say res.send, then we say, oh, this should be notes, not notes, because it's going to send an array of notes. Then I could just simply copy this and paste here. I want to get a single note. So I could say ID, a note by ID. So this would be find by ID, where the ID is req.params.id. We might want to edit a note. So we'd say put. So this would be put to find by ID and update. So params.id. In fact, I could simply say req.body, because req.body is going to contain the title and the body of that note. So I could do that, and then I could say new should be true, because I might want to get the updates of that note as it changes immediately. So I also might want to create a note. In fact, that was supposed to be the first thing to do, to create. So anyway, I can do it. I could say post. And of course, when I'm posting, I don't know the ID of the notes. So I'll say create, then I'll remove this and remove this one. So we just have notes create that particular note. Then we also want to be able to delete a note.
Okay.
So we'll say delete. So I'll say find by ID and delete. So we've done that. Post, delete, we have put, we have get,
Yes.
a note by ID, we have get all notes. So let's see if what we've been doing since everything works out well. npm start. Okay, so this has actually started, but it's not showing anything. And me, I like to know if what I've started has actually started. So I would say there is a place here .listen. So when it's listening, I like it to give me some feedback by saying console.log server has started.
Okay.
That's one. Number two, we didn't configure our database. So we're supposed to say mongoose should be equals to require mongoose. Then down here we can say mongoose.connect, and then we'll connect to MongoDB colon with double forward slash localhost at 27017 forward slash. I could say my casey notes. Then I would say if it's connected successfully, I would want to console.log database is connected. Of course, then I could put this in a new line. Then I'll say dot catch. Then catch is going to be used if it doesn't work out well. I'll say console.log. Of course, it has to give me an error. So I'd say error, then the error, the actual error itself. Right. Then remember that we are not using nodemon here. So I'd say npm install save as a dev dependency nodemon. Then while that is installing, I'll come here and change this to nodemon. So also I'll need to create that, where is it? File, I'll say test.rest. Of course. So if I start, installing this again. If I start my local server, server is connected, database is connected, we can start testing right away. So what do we have here? We have auth and we have node. So auth has register and login. So I can come back here and say post to HTTP colon localhost 3000. Is it 3000 this thing is running on? Even myself, I don't know. Okay, let's come here. What port is it on? 3000. Yeah, I guessed correctly. So 3000, the content type is application/JSON. Of course, full name is Victor. Username. Victor. Now, this username is something that can cause issues, right? You can use regular expression to check if it contains space or it contains all those things, right? So we can say email, password. So I'll just call this my password. Please send that request and okay, what is it saying? Oh, / auth / register.
Okay.
Created. Oh, I like this first attempt thing. I wrote it for the first time and I'm testing it and it's working. Wow. Login. So login now, right? I can decide to, so login accepts
Yeah,
a username or email.
email.
Email or username. So what I can do here is I could say test.rest, username or email, and then my password. So I can decide to use my username or my email. So if I send this, of course, it prepares my JWT for me because this username exists. If I use my email, it will still prepare it for me because that email exists.
Okay.
Remember what I did here? I said, check where the email is the email, that email or username field, or check where the username is that email or username. So
Okay.
that works out like perfectly well.
Okay.
Beautiful. So we copy this now. We can then come to test. We can come to test the note, right? So say host to HTTP localhost :3000 / notes. Is it notes or notes? Notes, yeah. No, notes.
S.
That's no S. No S. So we can say that the authorization is bearer and then the token. So if we send that, okay, strategy is not bearer. Strategy is not bearer. BEARER. Strategies. Why is it showing me this? So let's come back here. Let me see my mistakes. Let me see my offense. So we see split by space. We see that the first one should be strategy. Okay. I used after converting it to lowercase, I'm still using capital B here.
Okay.
So that's the reason why. So what is it saying? So I can't post there. I can get, so I don't have any notes currently. I don't have any notes.
Okay.
So let me add a note. So I'll then come here, post. I'll post a note. So I'll just say the note has, let me see what notes actually need to be sure. Notes need title, body, and owner. Okay, so let's come back here. Let's come back to where we want to make that notes. So where is it? When you're adding a note, this request body will only come with the title and the body of the note. So adding the owner would be me saying req.body.owner should be equals to req.userdetails.user ID. This means saying that the owner of the nodes that wants to be added should be the request user details user ID.
Okay.
So if we come back here, and then we have the title of the nodes, does this revival for people that go to church very well. So I would say body should be I should not use Bible this thing to play. So I would say the kingdom suffered violence. So I'll post that. Okay, so what is it saying? Now, why it is saying it doesn't that the body is required is the body cannot be passed because I've not given a type for the body. So I'd say the content type should be application/JSON as the body type. So if I send that request now, it has added that note, you see? So now this is something I should change. The note type is supposed to be 201 when I'm adding a note. So let's come back here. After adding a note, this is supposed to be dots status of 201. Status of 201. Then, if I try to check my list of notes, if I try to check again, you see notes, Thursday's revival, the kingdom suffers violence. Now, let's create the user interface for this, right?
Front end.
The front end. So this index will be my login. So I'll say HTML5. So I'd like to divide my screen into two.
Okay, as you type HTML, enter, it will pop up this.
This is what I did. I wrote HTML5. So it's HTML5 I'm using.
Okay.
So I just clicked on that and then it showed me everything I'm supposed to do there. Okay, so what do I need for this? I need the
title is
okay, this first, I'm not going to go over this, right? I'm not going to go over this. Okay, just give me some minutes.
Okay.
Okay, so I'll just create the login route, the login design, and then from the next class we will continue from where we stop. So I'll just say div here, input is going to be text, then the other input is going to be password, and then we have okay, so we have a button here. The button is login. Of course, we can have another button here. We can say, okay, we can have a div here, right? The div could be don't have an account. Then we have an A tag here to say register. href would be register.html. Sorry, it's supposed to be / no, not / sorry. Register.html. Okay, there's no actual register.html, so I need to create that. So it's supposed to be register.html. So that if I'm typing this out, let me see if it will pop up. So
You are not
Okay.
exporting.
No, here you don't export. You don't need to export anything. So for this, I could have an index here. I could say index style. Index style .css, sorry. Then of course, what am I trying to style? I'm trying to style this index, so I need to import it. So I'll say link, and it's a CSS link. The CSS link, and I'm saying style index CSS. Then of course, I think I'll need to divide my screen into two at this point. So I would say that first, that the body, I want to target the body. Then I would say that the margin should be 0. That the width, sorry, the margin should be 0. The width of the body should be 100%. The height should be 100 VH. The display should be flex, and the justify content should be center. Align items should be center. Then down here, we can see we are looking for a div, and inside that div, we are looking for input. Then in that input, we could say that the width should be 100%. Then here too, we could say asterisk, and then the asterisk there would say box sizing should be border box. Then input width of 100%. Then the padding can be like 10 pixels, 5 pixels, that way. Then inside the div, we are looking for a button. And then that button, we are looking for, the background color should be blue. The background color should be blue. That should be all. So if I want to,
the width and the length.
And the width is okay. So I think the width should be 100 also.
Okay.
100%. Then let me go live and see what I've done so far. So okay, so let me stop this server for a minute. Then let me go live again. Okay, so this would also have this padding. Then of course, let me share my entire screen. So let me demarcate my screen into two. One, and then, so we have that. Let me switch to the styling. Then at this point, I'd want to say that because we have just one div, just say that the div here that the gap. Okay, so first, a display of flex, then a flex direction of column, then we would have a gap. A gap of like 20 pixels. So this div 2 is going to have a width because it was just on its own. So I'll just say 400 pixels.
Okay.
So font weight is going to be bold. Color is going to be white. So if we come back to login, we can just have that a placeholder. The placeholder would be type in your email. I could have a div here to say login form, or maybe a H3, maybe a H3 with text align of center. Then, of course, for the password also, I'd say type in your password that way if you don't have account. So here I could just say style, I could say box sizing should be okay, sorry, display should be inline. Sorry. That display should be inline. Then text align should be center. Of course, so we have our login. This button here shouldn't have a border. So I'll say border none.
Okay.
So it looks cool now.
Okay.
Then for this input, I don't like that outline. So I'll say outline should be none. So if I hover on it and there's no outline, there's no outline on it anymore. Okay, so we've done our login form. What we need to do now is when the user clicks on login, something should happen. So we will do this. We'll come to our index.html. I'll give this an ID. I'll say ID should be username or email.
Okay.
Then here ID should be equals to password. Then we need to link this with our script, right? We need to link it with our script. So we have script here. So I'll just say index script.js. Then at our index, right, we would come here, would say scripts with a source, and the source is going to be /scripts/in/index script.js. Remember that username or email is our username or email, and password is our password. So what we'll then do is we'll then say, we'll come here, where is it? We'll come here and we'll say, we'll paste the two there, we'll say const that those two should be equals to document, dot get elements by ID. And then the get elements by ID is going to be those elements. Then I would also need the button, that button that I just created. So I'll come here, I would then say the ID for that button would be login button. Although IDs are supposed to be written in KodeCamp case, but they're supposed to be written in KodeCamp case. So I'll just say const that should be equals to document dot get elements by ID. So this would be login button. Then down here, you want to say that you want to add an event listener to login button. So it's you're listening for a click to login. When you receive a click event, you want to fetch. You want to fetch at. So let me create another script here to make life easy for me. I'll just say base URL.js, or let me just say setup.js. Setup.js. This setup.js, I have to import it right above my scripts.js. So I'll say scripts.js, then src should be /scripts/setup.js. The reason for that is anything I want to use from the setup, I can access inside the index script. For example, if I say that base const base URL should be equals to localhost, HTTP localhost at 3000, right? There, then here, I could just simply come here and say, instead of this, right? Instead of this, I want to say, URL maker should be equals to this. I would pass in a URL. What I expect it should return to me should be return base URL plus the URL that was sent to it. So if I pass in /login, it is going to return to me HTTP localhost /login, so that my work will be easier. So here I'll just say URL, what's the name? URL maker. And of course, that URL maker, I'm going to pass in /auth /login. Then no. Then here I would say that the method is a post method. The headers would have a content type, of application /JSON. The body is going to be JSON.stringify, and I'm going to stringify it. I need that the username or email should be the username or email dot value. Yes. Then the password too. Password too should be that password. Let me put comma here so that it won't quarrel with me. Then this would be an async, so this would be an await. So I could say once result should be equals to that. Once result should be await that. Then when the result comes back, I want to convert it from a promise to something I can use. So I could say the data should be equals to results await results.json. Then I can console.log the data. So let me demarcate my screen one more time. So then let's come back here. I have kookupjunior@gmail.com. Let me open my sidebar and to inspect. Okay. Then let me convert this. Let me go to the console. This password, what was the password I used here? My password is what I use. So if I say my password and I click login, what is this saying? Okay, so our front end has been blocked by course policy. So course policy is a policy that states that the if the two origins are trying to come, or if the origin that a request is coming from, right, is different from the origin that the host is running on, then you should block it. So the front end is running on port of 5500, while the backend is running on port 3000. So they are not the same origin. Now this can be solved, right? A simple way to solve it is to, let me crash this server. So login came in, but it wasn't processed. So look at this, I could say npm install course. Then I'll use course as a middleware here to enable anybody that is sending the request. So the reason for course is you don't want just anybody to send a request to your server and then your server returns a response, right? You might want it to be that, okay, if it is, let's say your front end is mrcelestine.com and your backend is api.mrcelestine.io, for example, you only want your front end to communicate with your back end. You don't want any other front end or any other person's code to be able to interact with your back end. So you can use course to limit that. Then we can use course here. We can simply say, maybe before the view engine, we can say app.use. Let me bring it down to this place too. App.use, and then I'll say, oh, I've not imported course. So I'll say const course should be equals to require course. Then here I would say course. And let's see, what can I do here? I could just say asterisk there to make sure that anybody that's sending the request can actually get a response. So let me see, that should work perfectly well. So kookupjunior@gmail.com. My password should be my password. Okay, so it's saying user not found. So the message coming back here is user not found, and it's giving 404. So let's see, why is that user not found? Why is that user not found? Let's see. So I think it might be Okay, I said email or username as the field here, but I'm using something different. So on the front end, I should go and edit that. So here, while I'm trying to register, or on this index.script, here I'm supposed to say that it's not username or email, it is email or username. So I made a mistake with that. So let's try again. junior@gmail.com. The password is my password. Login. Now, if you see the response that is coming back, sorry, the response coming back is, it has my details and the token here. So what I can do is, since that response is coming back as I expected, this data now is what you're seeing printed here. So I can then say session storage dot set item, and then I can set that the token should be, what did I do? Token should be, what is covering the screen? That the token should be bearer. Sorry. Token should be bearer, then the token there. So the token is going to
Sorry,
be
Sasha, you
data
converted to a small this thing. Bearer to
to
small
what?
letters. Bearer.
Yes, but yeah, this is going to be converted to small letters when it reaches the back end. This is the front end.
Okay.
So I'll just simply say, so let me try to log in again. Let me try to log in again. junior@gmail.com. Okay. Sorry, my password. So what is sent back? A message. So what is sent back here is, so what I'll just simply do is I'll just say data.token here. So I'll just say this is data.token. Then after that, I'll route them, the users, to the dashboard. So I'll say location.assign / dashboard.html. So let me try logging in again. So let's see if I did junior@gmail.com and I set my password and I log in. It takes us, it saves the token, but then it takes us to dashboard. But it is saying, let's see what is it. It's saying, so it's saying that dashboard doesn't exist. So let's see how we can actually solve that. Saying dashboard.html. So if I say this is front end / dashboard, sorry, front end. Okay, makes sense to me. So this would be front end / dashboard. So let me try to log in again. So my email is, my password is my password. Login. Okay. This change hasn't taken effect yet, so I need to come back and refresh here a couple of times. Okay, so we've logged in. So if I say local storage, session storage, sorry. If I wrote session storage and I opened it, you see that it's storing token as bearer token. See bearer and then the token there. So it's storing the token, then it's taking me to dashboard. Oh, then what I can do is I can then say once you log in, once you land on dashboard. So let me start the design for dashboard. So I could say once you log into dashboard, show me all the list of users, all the list of nodes that user has. So what I can do here is, let me just use inline scripting as well. I'll be internal scripting. So I'll just say script here. No, let me not be tempted to do that. I would say dashboard script here. Dashboard scripts.js. Remember that setup.js is supposed to be imported at the top too. So I'll say scripts here. I'll say src should be ./script / where is it? Yeah, dashboard. No, / setup. Then script here would be ./scripts / dashboard scripts. Okay, so this class is actually a long one, a very long one. We are going to complete, we are going to continue from this dashboard, right? In the next class, because our time is fast spent from 2 to 5, like that's like
thank you so much.
3 hours. So we are actually going to complete this in the next class. Is that okay?
Yes, it's okay.
Okay.
Thank you so much.